What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Belvista Studios Show. I'm here with Andrzej, and
Hello.
I'm very excited to have you. What I love about you is I feel like you're a really great experimenter. So I'm excited about the examples or whatever you're going to show today, because I think that you like to, experiment and see what's possible. So I think that's pretty inspiring. So I'll hand over to you, and you may take control of the screen and show off what you've been playing with.
Yeah. Maybe I will start with saying some words, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm taking part in the Articulate eLearning challenges quite regularly. And I think it's a really, as you said, a great way to experiment, to get out of your comfort zone, let's say, in that way. Yeah. Because you only get a topic or a certain task to complete. And I think only your imagination, your creativity is the thing that holds you. So you can really experiment with different design, preparing a training or mini demo for mobile, for any kind of audience you would like to have. So that's really great because it's the perfect environment for train your creativity. Yeah, so let me share my screen now, and I will show you some examples.
Can I ask as well? So I think a lot of people might hold themselves back from trying out those Articulate challenges because it is public, and they might be afraid of what people might say about their work, because we're always quite proud of what we produce. What would be your tips to help people overcome that fear?
I would say just I guess there's no better way than finding out, what other people think about you than just starting. And I believe that this community is really positive. There is no, bad vibes there. So even if you are a beginner, you are more than welcome to join. And I believe that, it will be the most positive experience in your life, because it was for me. I was also a bit stressed to start and wasn't sure if I'm good enough or if I should share my work, but I think I'm doing it for 2 years now. So yeah, I'm really into it.
That's cool. All right, go on.
Okay, so let me know if you can see my screen now.
I sure can. Yep.
So this is I will open also the Word file with all the titles, and so I can tell you what was the name of the challenge. So it was using the paper cutout effect to design e-learning graphics. So yeah, I think it was 1.5 years ago, more or less. So I thought that maybe I will start with showing you how it works. Then we can go to the Photoshop. So I can show you some behind the scenes in the graphic design, and then proceed to the storyline and show you how it was done. Cool. So it's a really simple demo that is based on the main topic, which was the cutout effect design. Yeah, so it works like that. So here you can see space, some simple instruction to follow. And I guess mainly here, my main motivation was to find some nice design, to think how to create this paper cutout effect. So I would like to use some depth in the design by adding all these layers. You can see that some planets are in the background, some in the, let's say, middle ground, some in the foreground. So that was my goal, to create this depth, as I said. And what you can do here is just click on the planet, and you will see some interesting facts about it. Yeah, you can move between some screens, and I must say I love the movement effect of
it's gorgeous.
Yeah, so it's really simple, but as I said, these challenges are a really great way to work on your design, to try new things, and even if it's not a really, let's say, professional compliance topic, you can still work on your skills, and I think that's really great.
Yeah,
And I must say it was also a good way for me to take a break from my work, where often you don't have this creativity, I mean the creative freedom to create whatever you want. So it was really nice to, you know, to work on these examples after work, where you can, you know, the creativity is not restricted by anything.
Yeah, I love that. Because you don't want to lose your passion. So this is like an outlet to be creative still.
And on the other hand of it, that's in our field, it's really hard to create a portfolio because of the NDAs and so on. So doing these kind of challenges is a great way of building some simple screen that you can share with a potential client if you're going freelance. So that's also nice that you can experiment, you can have different samples. So that's the other positive things of taking part in these challenges.
Yeah, great tip.
Yeah, so yeah, as you can see, it's quite simple, but I really love the design and this cutout effect. I can only imagine this being presented to some kind to kids at school, maybe even earlier. Yeah, so I will show you how it was done in the Photoshop now, or maybe you have some questions now. I don't know.
Not at this point. I'm documenting them, but I'd like to see, behind the scenes first, and then we'll chat.
So let me open the file.
I do love it though. I think, I love the cutout. And the next buttons are so cute. Like, I love that that's the progress, and definitely keen to see how you did the little zoom across. But I agree. I can see it on a tablet. I can see like kids clicking on it and just being really attracted to wanting to interact with it. So I think you've achieved that quite well.
Okay, so here is the Psd file. And my inspiration for this project was actually one work that I saw online. Maybe I can find it now. Cool. I will bring the other screen, but leave you with this so you don't see what I'm looking for.
Okay. You can tell us your like credit card PIN number. That's okay. We just buy nice things.
Yeah. Okay. So it's here. So often when I'm starting working on a challenge, I'm going online and look for some kind of inspiration, or sometimes it's just like, you know, like 3 seconds and I have the idea. But in this case, I saw a really nice tutorial from the Adobe about the paper cut effect. As you can see, they presented this kind of background there. So I thought it's really nice idea to use it. And that was the inspiration for this background. And the images I took from the unsplash.com, which is a website with really cool pictures that you can use for free without any attribution. And you can see all the slices layers here. So this is the main background. Then we have slice 3 that looks like that, and slice 2. So these are just different pictures of the space with some minor color adjustments.
Very cool.
And, yeah, and just some elements that I used in my project. As I said, it's not really complicated. I guess it's just the matter of the design that really drew the attention here.
Yeah. A lot of people I've noticed are using XD, and there was another one, I think, I can't remember the name of it now, for like mocking up their examples, but you're using Photoshop. Do you intend to move to one of the other programs, or are you really comfortable with Photoshop and it works for you? And why don't you just jump straight into Articulate? I think people would like to know that.
To be honest, I'm not so advanced in using the InDesign, so I'm just learning how to use it to create mockups. So probably that's why. And I feel most comfortable with the Photoshop and Illustrator.
Yeah.
And I'm doing the designs before the Articulate because I'm also trying to not only use the the assets from the internet, but somehow modify them to work also on the graphic design skills. And I also really love it. So it's a great way to practice it, not only download it and paste it straight to the storyline, but also play with them, try different effects in the Photoshop or in the Illustrator. So it's good way to.
Yeah, it is really cool. I think sometimes people get intimidated by Photoshop because there's so much potential in there. If you were, what I find is, and I'm not an expert in it, but I kind of use the same tools over and over, and I don't need to go into the depths of being a Photoshop master. So to help people not be so scared by Photoshop, do you want to show us maybe 3 of the common tools that you use over and over that are really helpful for getting what you want in your design, then being able to apply it into what you create in Articulate, for example?
Yeah, so I guess it will be a Photoshop and Illustrator.
Yeah.
And is at least for the graphic design. Yeah, I guess that's all what I use at the moment.
Yeah, and which like little tools within them. So for me, like the lasso tool is like, that's how I get all the backgrounds out of, like, if you're trying to cut out a person, you use the magnetic lasso, and then it's really good and you can take the background out. Do you have any of favorite tools? That's how you do the planets?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't get your question.
It's okay.
Yeah, so one of my favorite ones is the clipping mask. Maybe I can show you now how it works. Yeah, so if you have a shape and let's say a bigger image that you would like to have inside this this square, then you can just use it as the clipping mask. Let's say I will take this planet out like this. So assuming that this would be, I don't know, a bit bigger and you would like to have only a part of it, then you can create a clipping mask. You can select your left out and you'll see the little icon between 2 layers appears. And when you click, then, not this way around, it will be inside of the frame. So it's really cool when you are trying to fit some bigger picture, so you can then move around and see what's the best place to fit it in.
That's pretty cool. And then you could export that out into your Articulate file, because you would have like your setup as the right proportions or pixels. Yeah, nice. That's a good tool.
And the other cool thing that I'm often using is the blending mode. Let me open other file with the planets so you can see how it works.
Okay.
So as you can see now, it looks pretty, I would say, real, the planet on the paper.
Yeah.
But the only thing that I changed, it's in Polish, so probably it would be better if it would be in English, but these are just the blending modes. So you can just experiment and look how it feels when you are changing the blending mode here.
That's very cool.
And the other thing is that you can change the opacity. So it's also a good way to see how the image react with something that is in the background.
Yeah. So the paper kind of effect, is that an image itself, and then you have the planet image over it? And when you use the blending, that's how it kind of applies the paper to the thing on top of it, which in this case is the image of the planet. Is that how it works?
Yeah, you can see that texture. Yeah. Because the planet is like 80% of transparency, so you can see some small paper texture. But in the background, there's a piece of paper that I just use this tool to just create a shape. So.
Oh wow. That's the eraser tool. Very cool.
And the other cool thing is when you apply, in this case, a shadow, you saw that when I'm removing some part of the background, the shadow just follows. So it's really nice, but because you don't have to create a separate shadow here, you will just have, adjust it automatically.
Very cool. Oh, thanks for showing us those tools.
And also many people asking me where I'm taking my resources from. So I'm using freepik.com, which is I think it's called freemium website, where you can have some images for free, but you need to attribute the author. But you can also buy a premium subscription and use them without any attribution. So I strongly recommend this website. You know, the image base is really wide and great. So
yeah, cool.
That's the source of my of my images. Yeah,
they look great.
So as I said, I just followed the same rule for the paper. So each planet is created in the same way, giving it, you know, this paper touch and texture.
Yeah, I do love the it really does make you want to reach out and touch it, and I love that because it's an interactive element on your screen. So I think that's quite a unique touch.
And my other advice maybe would be also to look for some interesting fonts, because I think it's also really quite nice touch to not only to have some specific images, but also adjust the fonts maybe only for the title. I'm not saying that you have to, you know, create a very special font for the text content in the training, but to have some kind of title or just a small description in this kind of font that fits the topic well. It's really nice to also include in the project.
Where do you get your fonts from?
I'm using the Google Fonts library because it's I would say safe to use, because often some fonts has let's say quite complicated licenses, and it's not that easy to find the one that will work well. If you are using the font in the Photoshop and export is as an image, there's, I guess, no problem with that. But I've noticed that some fonts are not working well in the Storyline, so I'm just sticking to the Google base with fonts, so it's relatively safe to use them.
Yeah. Which two do you find that you're using most frequently, where they don't have the bugs or the errors coming up?
The one is Montserrat, I think. The other one would be, I forgot the name. So when I open the Storyline, I will tell you.
Okay, cool.
So give me a second and I will open it now.
And I really like that, you know, you've got the theme was paper cutout and then your font is a typewriter. So I really like that you linked that together, because you're just carrying through your theme of the paper to the typewriter font. I think that's quite cool. Just little things that people don't think have that much of an impact, but I think they really bring your whole design together.
Yeah. I think that, you know, this small touches, small things makes it really authentic, I would say.
Yeah,
it's not much work to add them, but when you think about each detail, it really makes the difference in the design, I would say.
I agree.
Yeah, so coming back to the fonts, it's the Open Sans, the default one.
Yeah.
First one that opens in the Storyline.
Yeah. And I think that just for people watching at home, if you haven't come across what we're speaking about here, is when you put it online, we're noticing things like an F or a T is non-existent in the sentences, or it's a different font, it's been replaced, or they're coming very close together. So trying to avoid that is by picking the fonts like on Andrzej, is that how it yeah, is speaking about.
And the other thing is also in Polish we have some special characters, so often they are corrupted after the publishing, so it's also a good way to ensure when you are using the fonts from Google Fonts, then it's a good way to, you know, to be sure that they will work and, you know, you won't see any strange characters after publishing.
Very cool. Good tip.
So this is the project, the structure in the Storyline. as you can see, it's really simple, nothing complicated, not a 10,000 slides here. What I suggest when people are doing the challenges is to really take care of the names and of the elements that you are putting inside, because when you're coming back to this project after a few months, you won't remember what was inside. So it's really nice to have some simple names like here planets 1, 2, 3, or just to name your layers appropriately, not just use the default names. Maybe it depends how on the workflow, if you would like to name them or not, but I would say it's a good practice for me to use some custom names, so I will remember what is it after a few months when I'm coming back to it.
Yeah.
So basically, all slides with the planets have the same structure, which are the layers, separate layers, the info screen, the buttons for the elements here, and the elements in the base layer. Maybe I will just open it to show it again if someone starts watching us from now.
Yeah.
So this is the project that I created for the paper cutout effect for articulate challenge. And if you click, you will see the some description appearing. Then you can close it and the planets are coming back again.
Yeah.
As you could see, I have some layers, but there is no, these descriptions are not included here. The hotspot that is here is just a cover, so you can't click anything in the background. And there's a small one that I've used for the exit button.
Yeah.
And the way it's built in this way because all the elements are behind the layers. So if I have them on the separate layer, they will pop out at the front of the project. So I've decided just to have them hidden. That's why they are grayed out in this workspace.
Yeah.
And when you click the planet, it will be here. Then you will have some simple triggers just to show the layer, move the planets along the motion path. And here on each layer, you will have the same set of actions to change the specific description to normal, hide the other things. So I think it's also really a nice way to have your project clean. If you include all the actions and variables on the layers, because I could have these buttons here, but then I would have tons of the triggers and tons of variables and the main screen. And in this case, maybe it's not that complicated, but I guess in some more advanced project, you can have a quite a messy screen. So in this way, it's a good way to keep the screen clean and tidy.
And I get that organization, it is really important. You don't think about it, and sometimes you just want to skip through naming things and not setting up your layers appropriately or the triggers appropriately, or more, I'd say clean and simple. So less to do more. But when something goes wrong, it does make it really hard to troubleshoot things. Especially if you're trying to go through a linear way. So it is worth the effort because you never know what's going to go wrong. You could put it into a client's LMS and then something doesn't work properly. So you have to redesign or redevelop it. And when it's organized, it's a lot easier, like you say, to come back in and then figure out and troubleshoot what is going on.
I would also say that the advantage of this kind of workflow is that if you are working in a team, and someone takes over your job, it's really easy for them to follow, because in the past I was working in smaller teams, in bigger teams, so it was often a bit a pain to take over someone's job and see how it was done. So if it's really nicely organized, then you don't need to waste that much time to explain how it works, and
yeah.
if there's pattern in every slide, I guess it's a bit easier to follow and to see how it works for someone else.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so I have some other examples if you'd like to see.
I would.
Yeah.
Can you show people how you got the little, sorry, I know you just closed out of it, but how you got the planets coming up and popping down, or even just explain it. You don't have to open it if it's looking.
Yeah, just a second. So as I said, each planet and the rocket has the motion path included. I don't know if you can see it now, but yeah.
Yeah.
So these are the paths in the storyline. What I really like about the new storyline that you can let me just select. Yeah, in the past it was impossible to add the length of the motion path, so it was really hard to create some more advanced movement. But now, since you can add it, you can really precisely select where the object should move. Yeah. And also you can see that it will appear at the end of the motion path, so you can exactly see where it's after the movement.
Yeah.
And the other cool thing is that you can name your motion path, so you don't have like motion path 1, 2, 3, 10, and 20. But in this case, I have 2 motion paths, earth down and up, so it's easy for me to recognize which move should I trigger. So it's really also I would say, good tip to name your motion paths. You are using many of them, then it's really easy to be lost in in all of them. So it's a cool way to to be aware what kind of motion path you would like to trigger.
Yeah, very cool. Thank you.
No problem. And for the rocket, it's just a scribble. I think it's called scribble motion path. Yeah, so that's the one. So you can just create any kind of movement that you would like, and then the image will follow. It's a bit harder to use than the regular ones, but I think it really gives some great effects.
Yeah.
So it's worth experimenting and trying things out.
I agree. Well, it's worked well for your rockets, definitely.
Yeah, so let me show it again,
okay.
if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so that was the move.
Cute.
Okay, so let's move to the other example, which is transforming infographic into interactive graphic.
Cool.
Yeah, so let me open it first. I will show you how it works. Yeah. So here you can see the source that I used. It looked like that. It was about the plastic packaging waste in the EU. And this is what I've created. So also, it's also quite simple. You'll have 4 screens with some data and facts about the plastic waste. But this time you can see the design is slightly different.
Yeah.
Using only images, not some without any vectors or cartoons. So this is how it works and how it looks.
Yeah.
And
are you using animations to get those like text bits in and the recycling bin in?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
It was the default animation effects from the storyline that I will show you in a minute.
Cool. Getting too excited.
Yeah. Let me start again with the Psd file.
Cool.
So this is it. As you said at the beginning of this show, let's say, I don't know how to call it. The thing that I really like is to experiment with different formats, different designs. So here I went for the square design.
Yeah.
And I've leveraged the fact that you can create your own layout in the Photoshop. So it's really, oh, I should change it to English, but it's really simple. You can just type your numbers here and create the columns. So yeah, it's a really good way if you have some more advanced design or you like to create some default layout here. Yeah, so it's a really nice thing to use.
Yeah.
And what I did here is I've created a composition of different pictures. So the lines are really helpful to have, you know, the clear division of the screen.
Yeah.
And in this way, I have some two pictures in the background, and the main one that is the background for the statistics that are showing up. So like this. So it's really simple, and I would say a classic division of the screen. But I guess it's, you know, it's something that has been around for maybe not ages, but for years. So it's a really nice way to use some standard how to say it, patterns, or follow the design principles. So it's easier for me, for us to follow them, and you are sure that it will look nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that maybe I could also share this website that I was using to create the images in the background. It's called Duotone. They are using images from Unsplash, so it's safe to use them.
Yeah.
And what's cool about this website that you have some predefined color sets.
That's
but you can
really
also,
cool.
You can also create your own one just to pick a color. So yeah, if you would like to get this duotone images, you can just type like, I don't know, animals. And then you will get some images, and you can download them directly from the website. So that's cool. Really nice tool. It's much more quicker than doing it in Photoshop.
Definitely.
And since, as I said, they are using from the Unsplash library, so it's free to use and no worries about the licenses.
Yeah. And this like look and feel is really nice. You see it now as like really nice kind of texture background images in websites and stuff, and then placing like a content, like a white card over it. So that's really cool.
Yeah, let me open. Yeah. You can easily create this kind of images in Photoshop, so I can show you very quickly how to do it. So
yeah, cool.
If you have, let's say, black and white image, then all you need to do is select the gradient overlay from here, from this part of the screen.
Yeah.
And in the Photoshop, you have some predefined gradients too. So let's say I will pick this one. And here it comes the blending modes that I talked about in the previous demo. So if you would say if you would pick the color one, you have already, you know, the more or less same effect. So
yeah, that's nice.
You can also do it in the Photoshop if you would like to. Okay, so I think that's all about the design. It's really not complicated, just some pictures combined together. When maybe one word about selecting pictures, when I'm looking for them, I'm trying not only to add a nice picture that I really like, but I would love to add some images that really enforce the message that I'm trying to convey. For example, that here, what I really like, that on the bottom you can see some plastic waste, but there is an arrow that can suggest some kind of upcycling, using them again. Maybe it's just my interpretation, but I really like to play with the images so they are not just randomly placed in the, in the background.
Yeah, they do support the content, what you're trying to get learners to do. I like that.
For example, here, what I had in mind was that, you can see the beautiful bottles at shop, the thousands of them, but you don't really realize that when you drink the water or any other beverage from the plastic bottle, they will end up probably in, somewhere in the environment, and it won't be that nice and that clean as it is here. So yeah, that's the reasoning behind this screen. Yep, so let's move to the storyline. I think I might lost the story file, so sorry, I won't be able to show you how it. Oh no, I found it. No problem. Sorry. Okay, so again, it's also based on 5 screens, so it's not that complicated. I think the biggest, let's say, challenge here was to think how to show this scroll movement, because when you click, you'll see that the background will move.
Yes.
And you can move you can move up and down. So you have to include all the backgrounds from the, let's say, surrounding slides.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll go here. Yeah. So as you can see, I've just add really long picture that have a background from the previous and the next slide.
Yeah.
And added to motions path. So when you enter this screen, I'll show it again. So let's say you are, oh, sorry for the mess. Yeah. So when you're here, if you go down, you will see a bit of this background. But if you go up, you'll see the background from this point.
Yeah.
The second one. Yeah. So it was quite, maybe not hard, but you need to really think how you would like to design things. And often when you see some really nice website designs, it seems so easy to do it when you are, you are a programmer, you're coding it in some kind of, let's say, coding languages. But here in Storyline, it's still doable, but it's often not that easy. So I would say that also taking part in these challenges and doing something outside the work can really improve your designing skills, your technical abilities, because you can try some things out. And what I really like is when I see something nice in the, as I said, in the website design, I try to recreate it in the Storyline.
Yeah.
And it's really great exercise how you can, replicate some mechanism there.
That's good. So can you just hide that particular image that's selected at the moment on your timeline and the one on top of it as well? So I want people to see that that's the canvas size, but so the canvas size isn't necessarily that long like your image, but you have those long images have come from Photoshop, but they're only partially shown when you preview part of your canvas. So that's how you're making that effect. And what you're talking about is having some of it show, and then it does its motion path, and that's how you're getting that parallax effect. And you can also then apply it to do the horizontal one as well. So it's like bringing them on a journey, moving forward and backwards to navigate. So it's really nice. I love this. I think it's beautiful. We see it on websites all the time now, and I think it's a really beautiful feature to bring into e-learning as well.
The only thing that you need to remember is when you're using really long images, this gray space has some limitations. So even if they fit, they might not work really well after publishing. I don't remember what was the limit here, but you need to be careful because you can't put like I think it's twice as big as the canvas here.
Okay, yeah.
But I think that if it would be like 4 times bigger, then it won't work. So you need to be aware of it, that this gray space also has some limitations here.
Yeah, that's a good tip. Thank you.
Yeah, so I have another one. If you have still a time to show something more.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
Maybe my my explanation is not super detailed, but I thought that maybe it would be nice to show some different examples to the people so they could see different ideas and different designs. And if anyone is interested in knowing more, feel free to reach out to me. I'm always happy to help, to talk about some designs. So feel free to contact me.
Well, I think you're doing a great job of showing a different variety of inspiration and also sharing your process. So there's lots of really great tips so far.
Okay, so now I will show you the example of mobile design.
Cool.
You can use developer options and show, let's say, how it looks on the iPhone. So I don't know if everyone is aware that you can preview your design using I am using the Chrome browser, and you can open the developer options and just select that you'd like to see your project, let's say on the iPhone or iPad. So it's a great way. If you don't have this device at home, you can test it on your computer. Maybe it's not 100% accurately, but I think it's good enough to test it here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I did was
you're going to make everyone hungry now.
Yeah, it's again, the topic is not the most serious one, but I guess it's also a good way of having fun with your design. At least that's the thing that really makes me I would say really happy about what I'm doing, that I don't need to stick to some, I need to say, boring topics, and that I can do whatever I want, at least in these demos. So this is the project, how to make a perfect toast. And what I did here is that you can, maybe I'll refresh it. So at the beginning, you can see the small icon that it's scrollable. And you can just scroll down and see the perfect recipe for your toast with the avocado.
Looks yum.
Yeah, so as I said, the design is quite simple here. There's I think no variables included here in this project. Just the idea of using the scrolling panel that you can add and use in the mobile environment really nicely. But before the storyline, again, I will show you the Psd file. Yeah, so this is how it looks. It's a bit different than the previous ones, because here you will see really long canvas to fit all the elements. And what you can see here, that the items are not in the same order as they were in the storyline. It's often a case for me that I'm doing the initial design in the Photoshop, but then I'm moving things around in the storyline. So maybe in the case of this project with the cutout effect, it was more or less the same. But when I have some idea in my mind, I'm often rushing to create, some visuals in the Photoshop and can't wait to add them into the storyline. So sometimes it's just a rough idea with the images placed to see how they look, but all the placement and the final design is done in the storyline.
Very cool.
In this project, I've used some also pictures from the Unsplash. I just cut them from the background, and I've added some effects to make them more cartoon, so they are not, so they don't look like a.
What kind of effects did you apply?
It was from the filter gallery,
which is default in Photoshop.
default. You can access it by clicking here on the filter, and then in the English version it will be a filter gallery.
Yep.
And then you can see instantly the effect of the filter.
Yeah.
So you can pick a lot. You can try and pick lots of them. So they're really nice.
So cool.
There's tons of them here, so yeah, you don't need to create them on your own. You can just go there and experiment to see how it feels, how it looks.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
No problem. Yeah. In this case, it's only one slide with my design. The trick here that I use is that the scrolling panel is a bit wider than the slide size. Yeah, so in this way, you can't see the scroll bar in your browser or in your phone.
Yeah.
But you can still use the scroll to move things around.
Very clever.
So I think it's a nice touch that you don't need to see the scroll bar. It's just looks more elegant, I would say.
I agree.
And it's done in the way that in this main scrolling panel, maybe I will make it a bit smaller. I've added some elements, as you can see, the content and the title.
Yeah.
The only problem, maybe not the problem, the only challenge with using the scrolling panel is that it's really hard to move things around once they are inside the scrolling panel. So what I did is I created the composition outside the scrolling panel and then move them inside. So
nice.
So that I don't need to move them inside of it, because it's a bit hard to move the elements around there. Maybe it's not impossible, but I prefer to make the design a bit outside it and then just move the things inside.
Yeah, cool.
So it's a really simple thing to add it. Maybe I can show it too if someone is interested how I did it. So this is in the format section. You can see the scrolling panel. Sorry, in the insert section there is a scrolling panel. And let's say I would add a shape. So all you need to do is just drag your element onto the scrolling panel, and you will see that it's getting inside. Yeah, and then you will see the scroll bar. So it's really easy, but when you have more advanced design, then it's a good way to prepare them outside the scrolling panel and then just move them inside. So you will see how it works. Yeah.
That's really cool.
And I've also created the, let's say, developer version of this project, because I'm trying to also share my source files with the community. It's not always
very cool
because of some copyrights of the images, but whenever I can, I'm trying to create some kind of, as I said, developer modes where you can see how it was done.
Yeah.
So this is really simple way how you can see how it works.
Very cool. Where would you like people to be able to access these?
It's available in the eLearning Heroes forum.
Yep.
Articulate Heroes. The name of the challenge was using scrolling panels in eLearning. So if you're interested in this one, you can find it there. But if you'd like to find some more, you need to follow the challenges and look for my submission. So maybe you'll find a story file there.
Yeah, that's cool. Very generous.
Okay, so I have the last one, so I can show you very quickly what I did. Because also it's a bit different than the other one. So the challenge was why everyone should donate blood. And my idea was to create a simple story where the main character is a vampire, young vampire. But maybe we'll see the story, so I'm not giving away any. I've included some sound effects, but I'm not sure if you can hear it. So
I'm not hearing it now.
yeah, so my idea here was to use a simple story about including the vampire.
Yeah.
That decided to switch to the strawberry juice instead of drinking blood because, as you can see, it's too precious to drink. And the message is here: if the vampire could remove the blood from his diet, maybe you can donate it instead. So
yeah,
it's
really cute. I love the graphics. They're gorgeous.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, that I really love the comic design here. Maybe it's not the best way to be to say that about my work, but I'm really proud of it. I'm not hiding it. I really love it.
It's really cute. Great idea. So simple, effective, to the point. I love it. Great use of storytelling.
So this is the layout in the Photoshop.
Very cool.
Yeah, let me just open a layer. So you can see that I was using the clipping mask here. Oh yeah, it's a really nice example because this is the shape of the frame.
Yeah.
And this is the picture that was inside. So
cool.
Really nice way to add them, and then you can move things around.
Yeah.
You can add multiple elements there, so you can see it's a background. There is the some kind of effect, the yellow bar, and also the character.
Cute.
So it's a really useful tool, as I said, so you can move things around and see what's the best position of the object within the frame.
Yeah.
And then it's also really easy to export things. If you select all the images and the clipping mask, you can convert them to the smart object. And in this way, you will have only one element. But if you would like to edit it, you can double click and you will have all the layers in the other window. So if you move your vampire here, close the window and save it, it will automatically move in the main design.
That's cool.
And
where did you get the artwork for this one?
It's also from FREEBIES.com.
Yeah, nice. So you were able to get like a whole library that was to this theme with multiple images in the same style and the character in different positions and stuff.
Yeah, what's really great about this this website, that, as I said, it has a really wide range of images. They were not in the same, let's say, package, but I've managed to to find them and fit the mood of the images.
Yeah, definitely. Very cute.
So this is the behind the scenes in the storyline. Here you can see all the sounds. So this one is based more on the timeline, not on the variables or actions triggered by clicking. Yeah, so in this challenge, it was mostly a matter of positioning all the elements on the timeline using some sounds, and it's a really simple animations like fade. Yeah.
Okay.
Or maybe we'll just show you. Yeah. So, and in the background, there is a group of these black frames.
Yep.
And what I'm doing is just using the fade effect on each separate cell. So they are appearing one after another.
Very good.
And the same applies for this screen. So it's a same work here. Yeah.
Yep.
Let me show it again once more. So this is the final effect here. A nice touch was to change the progress bar color to red to fit the topic, because you can also do it in the when you're publishing. You can change some colors of the player. So here you can change. You can see the progress bar is changing. So it was a small touch for this.
Yeah, I like that. That's really cute. Very thoughtful in your design. You like putting the consideration into those tiny things that do enhance it. It's nice.
And I guess that's all from me. Let me check my list. Yeah, that's all.
That's all. Brilliant.
Today I will stop sharing. Yeah.
They were awesome. I'm curious. One thing I noticed is you use hotspots. So at the end there, you had like the click to learn more, which was the piece of paper folding up almost. And your clickable part was the hotspot. Why do you choose hotspots over just making, say, if that's an image or a shape, the trigger as opposed to just the shape itself?
I think it depends on the specific project and on the image size. Maybe I will share my screen for a second again.
Yeah.
So I will show you why I decided to use the hotspot, not the adding the action to the image. Sorry for that.
No, that's all good.
So what I did here is I've added this fold into the image state.
Yeah.
And that's why I've decided to use a hotspot at the end, because otherwise, if I will add an action to this image, you can click it right here when it appears.
Yes.
So it's easier for me to control when it's clickable. So I've decided to use a hotspot here at the end with the link, and that's why. Yeah, that's why I use it, because it's the default is the part of the image.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. And the other thing is, like, you have encouraged people to take part in the challenges because you think it's great for developing your skills, but also your portfolio for people that have NDAs and stuff. Do you have any recommendations for where to host your projects that you can show as part of your portfolio?
Yeah, I'm using the Amazon S3 bucket. I think it's called in this way. It's really cool place to store it, because I don't know if it's still available, but when I registered there, I had 1 year for free. It had some limitations when it comes to the number of visits and so on, but after a year, I think I'm paying less than $1 for each month. So maybe not millions of people are not coming to the work that I've prepared, so probably that's why. But I think it's still a quite affordable way where you can host your challenges. And the other thing that you can use is the review mode from the storyline. So if you don't like to invest in any external hosting, you can just use the review and you will have all your projects there.
Brilliant. Well, everyone, I think you can agree that this has been brilliant. I loved seeing your process. You've really been generous in sharing how to do things. I really think people will love that. So Andrzej, thank you so much. You have brought a lot of value, lots of inspiration, lots of different ways to think about things, to apply interaction and bringing that mobile and website kind of world together that we do really appreciate as like just customers and consumers in the world, and transferring those types of things and showing how they're possible in e-learning. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It was
Everyone,
really great.
yeah, that's cool. Everyone, in the link of the description, we will share the resources and where you can find out more about our hero here today. So thank you everyone for watching. Please like, share, ask your questions of what you want to see more, and share your appreciation as well for what you've seen today.